You know, every time T1 plays, T1 has the most fans. There's going to be some threads afterwards. So I saw one criticizing the casters that I didn't end up liking too much. So let's look at it. Where is it? Let me find it. Where is it? Faker charms Caps to save Zeus, but the casters miss it. So the thread is that Faker charmed Caps to save Zeus, but the casters make a mistake. Let's hear the mistake.
Coming in. Zeus will be the one on the front line, Faker will be the one on the back, but Zeus immediately locked up. You can see how much damage he can tank. Faker going in with the charm, it goes wide. Zeus almost falls to the whirling death and he still has the locket. Faker dodges away from the hook, Zeus going back in, guys. And there's your contribution. Mickey falls, the shockwave from Caps. All it can do is...
So if we go back and we look at it, now we hear what Medic says. He says the charm goes wide. He tries to charm, and the charm goes wide. Here, in this situation, right, he is trying to charm the front line. There's no way that he is trying to charm Caps. Also, it'd be worse to charm Caps because Caps is playing a champion that has a burst build. Caps has already used QW, so Caps doesn't have that much more damage unless he wants to solo ult him. Whereas Yike and Broken Blade are on top of him, and Broken Blade and Yike do a lot more consistent damage, right? So he's trying to charm the two people that are on top of his Gragas here. He's trying to charm them, and he just simply misses. Like, he thought that if he throws the charm here, like, it's going to hit somebody. He's, like, trying to throw it at this angle because this is where Jax is. But Jax moves up, Yike moves up, and he ends up hitting Caps. Bro, he can't even see Caps. In the beginning of this fight, he's not even able to see Caps because he's nearsighted. So, like, when he's coming in, right, when he's here, he doesn't have vision. He has vision like this. So he's not even looking at Caps. So there's literally a 0% chance that he would be trying to hit Caps. I don't know why with Faker we just, like, do this thing where we think that, like, even though his level has not been, like, super high considering the LCK, like, he's obviously, like, good, but it's not been super high. We try to make it seem like he's always doing some type of, like, next level 5D chess because he's a, you know, world champion GOAT player. And we say that he's going to do things that literally don't make sense. Like, he's not trying to charm Caps. He's trying to hit Broken Blade. If you look at where Broken Blade is positioned when he goes for the RE, because you got to remember, this is, like, in real time, right? So he sees Jax jump in, and he's trying to, like, RE towards the Jax. And he just misses it. Like, he just goes a little too far, and it ends up hitting Caps, and Zeus ends up living, right? Like, this is what ends up happening in the situation. Now, I don't know if, like, Yike also could have just killed Zeus, by the way. Like, Yike has R up. If you look at Yike right here. This is why you'd want to charm the front line. Look at Yike right here. Yike could just press R again on this guy, and he would just die. But he uses his ult on Faker over here. They stop hitting Zeus because they're so sure he's dead. If Yike just pressed R on this guy with this sliver of health, then he's dead. It wouldn't be, oh, he saved Zeus. It would just be like, oh, Zeus died. So the idea that like Faker is doing some next level play is just ridiculous, right? And then you see, can't blame casters even as a viewer. I miss it. Don't know if it's intentional or not. I don't know why people put this ambiguity in situations like this. It is not intentional. I don't know what people think pro play is or what pro players are doing. You're not doing some next level moves to try to, like, you know, break the quality of the game. You are just playing League of Legends at a really high level. That's what you're trying to do. And indeed, it did not go wide, right? Like, people are saying something that feels straight out of a fairy tale. Faker's first win on Worlds was an R. Okay, now we're just like, we're sucking out Faker, which is fine. I'm fine with him sucking out Faker. I saw this. I screamed, what a charm! At the same time, the casters say, charm goes wide. Really ruined my immersion, LOL. Okay, well then, like, the casters just know the game better than you then. Then you're just not, like, you're not watching the game with, like, a big, like, a good amount of analysis. Like, you're saying, what a charm there? It's like, why would you be like, what a charm? Like, he's trying to charm the people that are on top of the Gragas. Clearly. It's like, I screamed, what a charm, and then the casters did this, and, like, guess who was right in that situation? Like, it's just such a weird discussion that we have. The part that triggered me, if we go more into this thread, the part that actually triggered me reading this was they're like, what were the criticisms of the casters here? Honestly, if you watch a lot of professional league, you realize how much casters either simply miss or cast wrongly. All in all, it's multiple things per game. I don't even mind it a lot, especially play-by-play casters, since there's a ton happening. Analysts, however, shouldn't make these mistakes, which Medic isn't, just generally speaking. I don't know where this snobby like talk down to the casters thing came from here. Like, I think that there's times where casters are like making mistakes, and I call out like when I think casters are making like a mistake that they shouldn't make. But like this view from like, oh yeah, it's like, by the way, this has the ninja energy. The ninja energy with like, how are there kickers that still just miss kicks? Like, shouldn't there just be a bunch of kickers that don't miss kicks? It's like, if you watch a pro League of Legends game, there are so many things happening all the time, and you can't see you literally can't physically see everything at the entire time. Like, there's multiple fights where like I'll say on stream, I was like, oh, I was watching this portion of the fight. As a caster, you have to try to see like what should be like you have to judge in real time what should be the most important part of the fight, and you should watch that and try to see what's happening there, because that should be the most crucial part. But sometimes that part of the fight is misplayed, or somebody else on the other side of the fight that shouldn't be in a situation where they're like dying, they misplay and they die, and that completely changes the fight. That's why people are like, oh, I need to see it one more time. I say it all the time on the stream. I was like, okay, this is the part of the fight I was watching. What the fuck happened on the other side of the fight? Then you look at the other side of the fight, and there ends up being like a massive mistake that leads to the fight being won by the team that shouldn't actually win the fight. You literally can't see everything at the same time. So like the idea that viewers are kind of like disapproving of the casters just missing a lot of stuff. It's like, yeah, because you literally can't do it. I mean, the casters in League are literally some of the best casters in the entire world. Like, the casters in League of Legends are the best esports casters for the most part. And this is coming from people that have casted multiple games. Like, they are top quality casters that are elite at their job, and they put their whole lives into like casting. So the idea that they're like not doing, it's like, damn, like they're still kind of bad. It's just weird, you know? You can see through Nocturne ulti with micro movements. Yeah, it's the same thing, bro. In all sports, like soccer, old coaches cast different than sportscasters. Sure, there's just things that you're going to be wrong about. I mean, the difference between like normal sports, the reason why people make less mistakes in normal sports is because in normal sports, the game just doesn't change close to as much. Like League, think about how many rules there are in League. Think about the amount, like if you were to write down every single rule, like every single champion ability, like how everything works in League of Legends, you were to write a comprehensive essay on how everything works in League of Legends, and then you were to write a comprehensive essay on how everything works in like basketball, how much longer would a League of Legends essay be? There's so much more in a game like League of Legends. There's so many finer rules and points and interactions and abilities and whatever than there is in a game like basketball, and it changes all the time. So not only is it more complex to begin with, it changes constantly. So when you have a situation like that, no one's going to have all the information all the time. And the idea where it's like, analysts, however, shouldn't make these mistakes. No, analysts are going to make mistakes because there's just so much to know in the game. For example, like as somebody who's dedicated my entire life to this, I even play the game off stream to make sure that I still like compete at a high level when I play. So like I spent probably close to 15 hours a day on League the entire year. Like if you consider gameplay, podcasts, prepping for content, streaming, like everything, like I've put my entire life into it. And for example, I didn't know the Sejuani interaction. I talked to Cadril during MSI. I remember specifically, like, he didn't know an ASOL interaction. Like, I didn't know that Sejuani R procced the Sejuani E. Well, the passive off the E, right? Like, Cadril thought that the entire ASOL zone, like when you have the big ult, he thought the whole big ult was a knockup. But it's like a knockup in the circle, and then the other parts are slow. Like everyone's gonna have, these are just examples of like Cadril and I, who literally dedicate our whole lives to this, who are like he's the biggest English speaking co-streamer. I'm probably the second biggest English co-streamer at this point. And we like really dedicate so much time to trying to know what's going on, and we're just gonna make mistakes like that. The idea where it's like, oh, you shouldn't make mistakes. Like, what does that mean? Shouldn't make mistakes? It's like, f off. Like, how annoying would it be if I like went to fucking your job and I'm like, really? Like, this is what this is what you spend your time doing, and you're still making mistakes? Like, that's kind of pathetic. Like, it's just so annoying, bro. It's so annoying. I hate comments like this. And it's not even about, like, it's not about me in this case. It's about casters, but it's just like this. The air of superiority just really pisses me off. Not that Dom's wrong, but if Dom wasn't making mountains out of molehills, he wouldn't have anything to talk about for an hour. Despite Dom's great competence, his views and money come from him being wrathful towards incompetence, either from fans, gameplay, or coaching staff, and the people watching him indulging in that wrathful, tinted hatred toward incompetence. Because Dom would not have content otherwise. We like Dom for his competence, but it's objectively fair that he's sitting in terms of being too wrathful towards incompetence or simply stupidity. I don't know what this means. Like, this is a comment thread that has, I don't know how many views this thing has, but it has 2,000 upvotes. Think about how many people view it. And this is something that could, like, obviously hurt the casters. Like, people are, like, shitting on the casters here. I think that this isn't being wrathful. Like, wrathful meaning what? Like, I'm saying that, hey, man, like, you probably shouldn't be blaming casters to this degree for something this minor. And also, the framing of it was completely incorrect. And the framing of it is what's creating this whole discourse. So, yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of like just a weird thing to say. Consider that wrath is one of the 7 deadly sins. Yeah, I mean, it's just such a weird comment to make. Like, the majority of what I do is not talk about Reddit threads. The majority of what I do is actually analysis. Like, that is what I am doing most of the time, with, like, humor and other things, like, in. It's subjectively fair of incompetent stupidity, whereby they haven't thus done so onto the wrathful. Insofar as the saying goes. So weird, man. And it's like, yeah, the reason why I talk about, like, Mad Lions fans, T1 fans, and all this stuff is because I feel like the behavior of T1 fans and Mad Lions fans and K-Corp fans, I feel like it is actually just wrong. I think, like, stan culture and stuff like this is just, like just wrong behavior, and I think it leads to bad results at the end of things. Like, when you have psychotic fan bases, we've seen people that have had psychotic fan bases been killed. We've seen other people, like, get harmed. You see, you know, like, you can see that players are, like, scared of their own fan bases at times when they play for certain teams. I mean, it's just, I think it's something that's just a net negative. So that's why I combat it so hard, is because I actually just, I think that there is something very wrong with, like, stan culture and, like, this idol culture and ultra culture. I actually hate it. And I think it's a good thing to hate.